The previous videos I've shown that have involved my binders have been mostly focused on Decipher cards, official Decipher cards in my collection, but this binder is focused more on deck building. So there's now 17 official virtual sets that have been released by the Star Wars CCG Players Committee, and I wanted to have a good resource of virtual cards already cut out. That way, anytime I want to build decks, I can just take them out of here rather than always having to print off cards just based on each deck. So have it organized similar to my other binders, but these are all cards that are printed out and put over specific cards. So for example, General Kenobi, you put that over the Return of the Jedi Interrupt card, and I believe that's what I have in here. I also have them all in penny sleeves. So yeah, Return of a Jedi in there. And the Players Committee does a pretty good job of having relatively easy to get cards be the underlying cards for virtual cards. So Jedi first, and then clones. And I threw the droids in here, plus some more clones. And rebels. I've started to include this Ahsoka in a lot of decks, just being immune to permanent weapons and reducing battle destinies. She's pretty hard to take out. And some rebel officers. And so this isn't the actual proper image for him. That's supposed to be Colonel Kraken from Death Star 2, but I don't have many Colonel Krakens, so at least as a placeholder until I put that card in the deck, I just put Walix Blissix in there. Actually, this one's Blissix, that one's Kraken, even though it's the same image, so that can get a little bit confusing if I don't put the proper one in. And a lot of Rebel pilots here. And lots of times I put front and back, so I try to draw from the back first, so I have plenty of hobbies. And Rebel Troopers now. Even more Rebel Troopers. And the crew of Ghost, got a lot of their cards here, front and back. Rogue One characters, I use Baze a lot, with his being able to fire his weapon twice, so he can take a few people with him. There's a lot of gaps here because a lot of the cards are in decks, but I got enough Rays for a while. And a Luke Last Jedi. Couple Chewies and Roses and Finns. Lots of Poes. And I use Baru instead of Reflection. The Dagobah card Reflection, which is a rare because I have a lot of those for sale in my store. So I don't like to keep cards that I can sell from my store in this binder. Miscellaneous Aliens, the new Mandalorian character. I could probably put him in more decks, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. And that looks to be it for the characters, but a lot of effects. Probably don't need that many virtual copies of a new Secret Base, but I guess at one time I was putting that in a lot of decks. And this is the new card that replaced Evacuation Control, so it's not quite as good as Evacuation Control was, because you can only do it twice, but limiting the amounts of battle destinies that you and your opponent can draw in a battle can really make a difference if you have a character with, immune to attrition less than 5. If they're only drawn one battle destiny, there's a good chance they would survive, assuming they don't get hit. Lots of useful interrupts here. I think at one time I probably had 50 of the original Virtual Rescue in the Clouds, but after it got errata, I don't use it very much, but I have a couple reserve copies in here. I guess just one. Keep Your Eyes Open I use a lot to stop the dark side from firing weapons, so I got plenty of those. 10 of them, I guess. And it's definitely nice when building decks just to pull these out of the binder, and they're the interrupts are in no particular order. I just tried to keep things somewhat together, so we got some Episode 7 interrupts here. Oh, and rather than print out a whole thing here, a whole new card, I just added Or You'll Be Dead, because that's all the errata text really added. So probably wouldn't do that in a tournament, but at a kitchen table game, it gets the point across. Pressifier is popping off the top a little bit. Do I have 3 in there? Huh, hard to tell. And some pretty cool locations, just like Decipher did. When the PC does their own images, the Players Committee does their own images, they end up looking pretty cool. They do a great job with locations. And, I wonder if I have a dark side. Oh, I have a dark side Heroic Village in there, so I should probably fix that. That didn't look right, but yeah, these are both light side cards. They should be, but I put a dark side on the back as the backing card. And a couple of objectives and epic events, and now into the starships. So that's the alternate image, just like Decipher did alternate images, so does the Players Committee, and they end up looking pretty cool lots of the time. And similar to General Kraken, I just put the regular A-Wing in here rather than the Death Star 2-1, which is a $5 card. Better to put in the 25-cent card just as a placeholder. And with Corrin in Rogue 9, same idea. Obi-Wan, same idea. Plenty of... Oh, and I put Red Leader on the back, just in case I ever need to use Red 1. Red Leader's right there already. So yeah, this is all for convenience, but sometimes it's fun to flip through, and cards that I thought would be more useful, I printed more copies of. I got some stand-ins for Dash and Rogue 10. Maybe it's supposed to be Rogue 12 now. I think that might have been errated, but it's just the name is all. And a few weapons. So that's the light side. Usually I put devices right after characters because of alphabetization, but I decided to just keep green with green. So lots of neat light side cards and images there. Lots of stuff that as I make new decks, I'll be putting them in. Here's the dark side binder. Starting out with the Sith Lords, a lot of Mauls and Dooku's, and a couple Sidious's, or at least one Sidious. And the Confederacy type stuff. Lots of Droidekas. Haven't put a Magna Guard in a deck yet, but I have one there if I need it. And I have a lot of Vaders in decks. This might be the only one I have left in reserve. At least Vader's Emperor Enforcer, I mean. Probits are nice. I didn't notice right away that they were unique, but could make some pretty interesting probe droid decks if they weren't. It's just a nice anti-spy character. I only recently started Rebels and to find out who this is, but I always thought that picture looked like Chris Pratt. Now I know that the cartoon doesn't quite look like him. Some of the cards are slipping up, but not too bad. For the most part, they stay where they're supposed to. Alright, first order guys, so Snoke and lots of Kylos. She's a pretty useful card. I got Ponda upside down because he received an errata, but I haven't fixed it yet. Cad Bane's pretty nice. Got a lot of him. Although I sell Dengar as a single, I decided to keep one in there, and I cheated a little bit with Azara Singh. Rather than using a $5 Tatooine card, a rare card, I might as well use an effect. And same with Jango Fett. It gets the point across. Just a couple characters here. Both in Clone Wars and in Rebels. I really do like Hondo Inaki. He's definitely the funniest character. Got a couple of these if I want to make a first order deck. High Destiny going through your deck. Endor Shield I have in a lot of decks. Nice thing is it's an uncommon, so I can have plenty of extra copies lying around. Thought this was a great idea by the Players Committee. It's a pretty old card, and it was pretty much the same as it was after they did the reset in 2014, but it was in set 1, which means there was a slight tweak to it. But Basically, you deploy the Emperor and 3 effects, but your opponent gets to go first. So there's been a starting interrupt for a while since Death Star 2 where you play 3 effects, and you still get to go first as the dark side, so kind of an interesting choice. Lots of times, if your opponent gets Anakin in their hand the first turn plus his lightsaber, Emperor ends up getting killed the first turn, but that I don't always play against Anakin, and there's some decks where it's good to have the Emperor. Destiny 2 interrupt, but it's pretty good. I definitely have one copy in my Raw Tier Operations deck, because once you play the Lost function, you can just kind of keep playing it. Point Man. I have a bunch of copies of this, probably some more on the backside, yeah. So, to cancel Keep Your Eyes Open is really nice, and also just that use text of placing a card from your hand into your use pile and then taking any one card into force pile can really help you get key cards quick. By end, you cycle a Destiny 5 interrupt. Double back I like a lot for getting Boba or Forlom. And all the Black Sun sites, and some Tatooine sites too. Locations, I should say. That's the alternate image of Starkill base firing its weapon. And I really like the Invisible Hand deck where you're trying to, well, I might even have a copy here, yeah. A stunning move. So trying to get Insidious Prisoner, an epic event that represents Palpatine, up into your starship, capturing him, or kidnapping him from Coruscant. It's a pretty fun deck. And some reserved copies of this card. Deploying for 7 to your opponent's system and then having power 12, plus drawing a Battle Destiny. Definitely trying to get that into more decks. And the finalizer here. So the main ship for a lot of First Order decks. Invisible Hand's pretty nice too. Having Grievous on table, then drawing a extra Battle Destiny, so you're drawing 2 lots of times with it on table, and Admiral Trench, who there was a copy of here earlier, allows you to make it immune to attrition. And then a few lightsabers. So Dooku's and Kylo's, and then I haven't used this card much lately, but I have a couple copies just in case. I have capital ships that I don't want to have Power Pivot go after, make them Power 0 for no good reason, just for playing an interrupt. So that's the dark side. And I also got one more binder. So this one is all virtual cards, but if you've seen one of my earlier videos for a collection that I bought in Kansas City, the previous owner, he made a lot of fan art cards. So what I did was I scanned those, and then I had them copied on fairly good quality paper, and I can just slip these over for casual play in kitchen table games. But a lot of cool images. And kind of an alternative style here for these ones. But I printed lots of copies of ones that I thought I might want to use in decks. And I always like the comic book art cards are some of my favorites, especially for that R2-D2. I had a R2-D2 Mon Calamari deck that didn't work so hot at the Minnesota tournament, but that would have been at least a pretty looking card for the deck. A few Lukes here, and Rays, Hans and Chewie, Poe and Finn, some shields even, and the effects are cool looking, but I'll kind of breeze through those a little bit. The starting effects look nice though. Interrupts, so definitely like that card for Knights of the Old Republic, the last few Jedi that survived. These ones didn't scan so well. The comic book art for Clash of Sabers, both versions of it, they still look kind of nice, but it just doesn't, it isn't quite as sharp as the original card was. The ships ended up really nice. especially the Wedge's X-Wing. And the lightsabers were pretty good too. Lots of sights. Corellia, I did like Corellia. And into the dark side now, so lots of Vaders plus an Emperor here. That's Anakin. That one's pretty hard to see, but that's Anakin marching up to the Jedi Temple. These are all the same cards, so I have plenty of reserve copies of Emperor's Enforcer, I suppose. Maul's here. It's a very neat Grievous. I don't necessarily like this card style, like the open window one, but it's a pretty neat portrait. And comic book Dooku there. Very neat battle droid image in the Geonosian arena. Some comic book Royal Guards and Veers and Tarkin, so a lot of comics there. Very nice Boba Fett's, especially that one. I like that one a lot. And some pretty neat Kylos. This is one where I think the alternative border style really works well. That one looks nice. First Order Troopers and Leaders. And the Force Lightnings and Force Pushes are definitely nice. It was kind of cool to see Knights of the Old Republic images on a card. Some sights here. I thought the images selected for the light side sights for these custom art were pretty good. The dark side are just okay. And then some pretty neat starships for sure. So, TIE Bomber, TIE Defender. Invisible Hand works pretty well with the alternate border, I should say. Thought that was an interesting choice for the Slave one, using that comic art there. But a pretty striking image, and then some lightsabers, and I think got a couple more on the back. And lots of good effects. I should say objectives. Definitely like the front of that objective, and that's where they're captured in the shields. So that's actually it for the custom art cards. But I got a lot of stuff ready to go if I ever make more decks, which I hope to do soon, because I really haven't made decks since set 15 came out, and set 17 is already ready to go, and there's some pretty cool looking stuff there. So I hope you enjoyed looking through the virtual cards. Maybe for some people you haven't seen many virtual cards yet. I think I'll try to remember to put a link in the description to where you can find more about where the game is at now with virtual cards. I hope you enjoyed this video. I got a few more binder ones coming, and then of course lots of sealed product openings coming too. So thanks for watching. Have a good one.